Fury of Dracula is a team-based hand management and hidden movement game originally released in 1987. This is the third edition from 2015 and designed by Frank Brooks, Stephen Hand, and Kevin Wilson, with art by Chris Beck, Samuel Arshamato, and many others. The goal is to find the Count and end his reign of terror over Europe, unless you are Count Dracula, in which case you will skulk about the land, laying traps and seeding new recruits into your army of the night. Only one team can survive. To set up, place the main board in the middle of the table with the influence marker at 0 and the time marker on the yellow Monday space for day. Shuffle all event cards together, Dracula and Hunters, and then shuffle the item cards into a separate deck. Sort the Hunter combat cards into stacks by type, placing all of these cards near the board. Shuffle the Dracula combat and encounter cards separately and place them at the Dracula side of the board along with the ordered locations deck. One player takes the role of Dracula, sitting at the noted end of the board and taking their figure, character sheet, reference map, and drawing a starting hand of 5 encounter cards. The other players choose one or more Hunters to play as, depending on player count, taking the corresponding figures and character sheets. They place them at the noted starting locations on the board. Place all ticket, damage, and various other tokens in reach of all players. Dracula secretly chooses a starting location from one of the location cards and places it face down in the leftmost space of the trail. The hunt is on! In Fury of Dracula, players take on the roles of characters from Bram Stoker's seminal novel. They are either the team hunting for Dracula or the titular vampire lord himself, who rarely deigns to even appear on the board. The game is played for a variable number of rounds, which are broken down into a hunter and then a Dracula phase. The hunters will take one action each during the day, and then again during the night. Their actions include moving to a new location by road, railway, or sea. Movement can only be done during the day. Reserving a train ticket for a future turn. Resting to recover damage. Searching a hideout location to deal with any encounter cards there. Performing a special action from a character ability or event card. Supplying by drawing event cards and then an item card only if in a large city. And trading items and ticket tokens with other hunters in their location. Dracula, meanwhile, will simply move to a new location by sliding cards on the trail to the right and then adding a location card from available adjacent locations face down to the new leftmost space. They may also add an encounter card from their hand face down to their new location. These will be traps for the hunters, impediments to their progress, as well as new vampires who will need time to germinate. Any locations that drop off the rightmost side of the trail during this step will mature and have additional effects resolve, usually causing Dracula's influence to rise. Additionally, this can rise when hunters are defeated in combat. Combat occurs when either a vampire encounter is searched by hunters, or Dracula himself is in their location and consists of playing a face-down card each in a kind of rock-paper-scissors style symbol countering contest. Strength, Claws, Fangs? After both phases are complete, the time marker moves to the next day and a new round starts. At the end of a week, a despair token is added to the board. If all 3 have been added, then each time Dracula moves, the influence track increases by 3. If the influence track ever reaches 13, then Dracula wins immediately. Otherwise, if the hunters can find and vanquish him before then, they win as a group. Eat, drink, and be scary! Hidden movement games are a guilty pleasure of mine. They are, by design, asymmetrical, which can be vexing to play for one side or the other. Sometimes both. There's a lot to love about Fury of Dracula. The flexibility in player count, the aesthetic that bleeds across art and theme, using a ridiculous Transylvanian accent when you play the Count. But it can also be a slog to play when Dracula sails off to an island, then traps one of the hunters there for several turns, afterwards bounding off to the Spanish coast. That specific example was part of a several hours long game that only ended when I finally gave in to the frustration of the other players and faced them down somewhere near Madrid. I fell that day with a torn cloak and broken dreams. But I shall rise once more when the creatures of the night beckon me. I'm always game.
Turn on your white light in my open eyes. Oh girl, you hypnotize me.